evening, viewers. Welcome to the Face Off. And the guys still celebrating Eid. Happy Eid. A friend of mine assures me that you do the celebration for a continuous 4 or 5 days. I'm not very sure about that, and I'm not going to play with the maths of it. I know I said earlier that in Nairobi today they didn't celebrate Eid, they didn't see the moon, and neither did the guys in Dar es Salaam see the moon. In spite of them being closer to the coast, I thought the skies are clearer that side. So they didn't celebrate the Eid. I think Malawi as well, I got feed from Malawi that they didn't celebrate Eid either. We did here, and to the comrades that celebrated Eid, I don't want to play with those words, but I know that they will say Happy Eid in Arabic, whichever the word is. With me in the studio, I have Charles Romshana and Richard Waguma. We should have been joined by Dr. Kiza Vesije. I was with him this evening on radio, and he's unable to make the show for purely social reasons, and I think, I'll be fair, he explained, and I said yes. So he's unable to be on the show. Charles, welcome.
The Almighty God is great.
I see Charles had done a clean shave. The beard is off.
Which shave is that?
The roof is shinier, because possibly he was in with Dr. Chiza Vesije.
I've been with Vesije for some good time.
Yes, Richard Maguma, welcome.
In Rukunjiri Development Committee.
Thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be here on Eid. It was a public holiday. I'm not a public servant, but I have public servants around me. And so it was a pleasure spending time with them.
And say Happy Eid to those that are still celebrating.
There are three people that I am certainly want to say hello. No more than three, but three in one. My brother Hamidu and his wife Jazira, I know they are watching. They always watch. My other brother-in-law, Kano Rugumayo and Hajati, and Umar in Nakasaja. Umar is one of my people.
All right, viewers, very unusual as I start a show, I will commensurate with the family of Sheikh Jamil Kaketo. For those of us that do any football in this country, and for those that support my football club, KCCFC, he's been a phenomenal figure around. I am a fan of that football club.
So
and
I can also call it mine because
yes,
I'm a fan of
as a fan.
Okay.
And because those that hold it in custody, in trust for us. Sheikh Kaketo passed on. Sheikh Kaketo has given to school football in this country and national football in this country. He wasn't gunned down like the other sheikhs. He passed on a natural death, and we commiserate with those. I'd also like to say hello to Dr. Guchina. Council Guchina gave me feedback on the show, and I'd like to say hello to him.
Because you know he's following. You know,
He
when I
does.
was coming here, I passed through one of the supermarkets in Intinda. I found a gentleman with a plaster on the eye. And so he kept on looking at me as I shopped. Then he came and said, "Can I say hello?" I said, "Yes, please. I know you're going for the show and I will be watching, so please." Talk about me. I said, "Okay."
Yes, Dr. Guchina, feedback was taken in very good stead.
And interrogated as well.
I'm hoping that indeed I'm speaking the truth, Charles Romshan and Richard Maguma, about the feedback. But viewers, today we'll do two things. One is we will continue interrogating the democratic credentials of political parties. One very interesting, yesterday I saw JPAM. He's becoming very popular for either contesting or not contesting the NRM decisions, but the NRM, through their Electoral Commission, or Dr. Tango Doi, who was here with Charles Romshan and I last week, saying that he's going to take everything in stead, says he's been granted power within the NRM constitution to set conditions by which NRM candidates should abide as they go on, and one of those conditions is to be chair of the party, and by that stead presidential candidate, you should pay 20 million shillings before you pick the forms, and then when you pick the forms, you are able to read the regulations. Amama Mbabazi wanted to dare them, I suppose. He went without having paid, and of course he knew what would happen, and indeed it happened. They didn't give him the forms, and it caused a bit of media frenzy and hula baloo, and there we were at. Then the other side, the FDC has started traversing the country. Kizza Besigye is addressing rallies in open fields. General Mugisha Muntu has taken to the town hall type. He's done two, I think, so far in areas around Bunyoro. When I was with Kizza Besigye today, he said that on Sunday he would be in Mukono, and then subsequently he will continue into Busoga. His is addressing rallies. The other one is addressing town hall meetings. You will tell me. The Democratic Party, on the other side, is still trying to wash themselves out of the disagreements and agreements and counter-agreements within their party so that they are able to do work and operate. Whatever will come out of that, God knows. Charles, I start with you. The easier one, the machinations within the NRM. Just give me your gut.
The NRM is used as a ladder, is used as a platform, is used as an instrument to seize positions in the state superstructure that generate a salary. But at the same time, that bring the population to facilitate the control of the same state superstructure. For instance, around the president, you have Bank of Uganda, you have Foreign Affairs, you have ETC. Then around the speaker, you have a budget. Around the chairman, LC5, at the district, you have facilities of the state. And so is the sub-county. Now, these are the contestable areas where you find a lot of heat. It's not to do with the chairman of the organization, i.e. the party, at LC5, because it has both. It has the chairman of NRM at LC5. It also has the chairman of LC5. So the party struggles to seize the other organ of the state because around it is money. That's why you see when the mayor, like Lukwago, Elias Lukwago, becomes a mayor and is of the opposite, is of the enemy organization, they ensure he does not get a hold of on the resources. You control the flow of resources. So, and Ababa Mbabas is part of those that designed it. That's why you see when he was the Secretary General of the party, he was Minister for Security. So when you ask him, he was not earning in the party, but he was earning here. Elijah Mshemeza, who was the vice chairperson of the Electoral Commission, was a senior presidential advisor. So there will always be a position. So you will be a senior cadre somewhere, but at the same time you are an ambassador, where there is a salary. In other words, the state superstructure facilitates the other political organization. That's why you are. Now, so they apparently most of those now who are running the affairs of the party at the NRM caucus, because members of parliament are also members of SEC, sort of NEC, sort of the delegates conference, and many of them are in NEC and SEC. Like for instance, the speaker is a member of SEC. Like Mike Mukura, who is the vice chairperson of Eastern Uganda, is also a member of parliament. Now they have tried their level best to shrink space for those who are coming in. And how do they do it? For you to register to participate in the primaries, you must pay 2 million shillings. Now let's look at a person, the spokesperson now in the State House. Forget about Ofono Pondo. The spokesperson of State House, who is Mirundi, Tamare Mirundi. He earns around a million shillings a month as a civil servant. So you would need 2 years to save, actually more than 2 years to save 2 million shillings to qualify to pick forms. For picking 20 million shillings to be the chairperson of the party, by then, now as we speak right now, if you went around, through members of parliament, now very few can mobilize to 20 million shillings. Because yes, that's the truth. Most of them are indebted, they are really finished. When you late pay them salaries, they almost run amok. Because and yet they earn 20 million shillings. So that's already a problem. The objective was not to raise money for the organization, because NRM does not raise money from members. NRM raises money from the state. They do fundraising through projects, inflate a project here, inflate a bid here, and you remember that meeting that took place in the State House on this railway with Whitaker and someone, and they were going to get some money to help UPDF improve itself in railway construction. That's how they mobilize money. But when you see them now ask contestants to pay money, they are trying to limit space. They are trying to shrink space. Therefore, Amama Mbabazi, in my view, is building grounds to challenge them. Because if the mother law, the presidential act, elections act, says you deposit 20 million shillings. Now, why should you ask me to deposit 20 million shillings even when I'm blind? Is this facilitating democracy? Are you being democratic? Because the constitution enjoins them to be internally democratic. But these resources are extremely very prohibitive, and I find it extremely very interesting, because that was not the original NRM. The original NRM, the door was open, wide open. Now this current paradigm, the space is shrinking, and I think Amama Mbabazi is trying his level best now to expose them. And in my view, he's succeeding, because that's why it's an issue for debate.
Really? I need to ask you. You and I were seated with Tango Doi, and when we talked to him, he said, anyone that wants to be member of parliament in this country and cannot afford 2 million shillings should go to LC1. Is it too much to ask?
Where does he come from?
Tanga? He's a professor in Makerere.
Oh yes. You see, because of the restrictions of the end of the movement for the 20 years, it criminalized the political activity, and it's therefore you had lumpen. The lumpen are the ones who would risk being beaten on the streets. You have very, very few from the intelligentsia, from the elite class, who would risk that beating. So he doesn't know the politics that takes place in the other world. That's why he was giving the example of Makerere University, that before you are given forms, you have to first pay. He doesn't know that the world this end is different. We have a law that allows 100% illiterates being chairpersons of LC3, which in my view is the best of administration. By the way, you would rather have an elite at LC3 level than have a pseudo elite at senior 6 at parliamentary level. So I don't want to see that Tanga Odoi knows this, but in any case, who is Tanga Odoi in NRM?
The chairman of the Electoral Commission.
Yeah. You see, the chairman of the Electoral Commission has been in Nduguruguru, and for some reason, these are window dressing. They are here to give the organization color. That we now have someone from Makerere University, we have someone from this place and this region, but the decisions on who will be candidates of the NRM will be from somewhere else. I was with you when Samrede told us she had lost elections and the president rang and elected the Electoral Commission. You guys are smiling. And directed.
I'm hoping that you're not going to say who she is.
No, I will not say who she is, except when I'm provoked. And the president elected that she had to be the candidate, and there are very many. There are very many. So, and I told Tango Doi here that if, for instance, Kainotafire was to lose primaries, or Sam Mukhtesa was to lose primaries, and you were to telecast that, you would be finished. So he needs his friends to educate him that with this NRM machine, you have to be extremely very flexible. Very, very flexible. But if he's going to take those regulations they give him to the letter, they will hang him.
Well, there is an allegation today that he's been asked to go and interact with the chairman of the party in State House because of the strict adherence to the said regulations, especially after allegedly disqualifying Hanifa Kawoya. I don't know the truth.
And I told him I was not going to disqualify. We discussed it. You see,
but Chaz, the National Council for Higher Education has said Hanifa's papers do not exist.
Then it will be dissolved.
What?
That higher council of something will be dissolved.
I need to breathe in.
The interests of NRM take precedence of any other of those regulations. So you can only survive there. And you see, these are the maneuvers. Because you see, why is it news that Tangaodo is going to have a conversation with the chairperson. They had a conversation over the new Land Cruisers. Because you are saying this vehicle is too comfortable for me to manage. It's
The
too
old school marketing
it's too
professor.
comfortable for me to manage. Because in any case, if I get used to it after losing this job and you take it away,
He goes back to his Pajero.
but the adjustment is complex. So they have had conversations. Why is this one
How
very
did you know
prominent?
that conversation?
What? I mean, we have capabilities. We have capabilities.
Well, Richard, of course, I also think that the NRM needs to be jolted into respecting the institutions of state. Today, driving back into Kampala off the Northern Bypass, I saw R0027, whoever is driving that. They had a police lead car. They had right behind them a Land Cruiser packed with police. And I was thinking, okay, who is this? And they were stopping everyone on the road, lest you... And of course, I did the naughty thing. I refused to give way and waited for the bullet to go off, and it didn't. But I thought it is out.
It went off but missed. The gun was
I
silenced.
thought it is ultimately stupid of the party to be deploying the instruments of state to guard that other old NRM 00, RM 02027 should be guarded by Saracen, they should be guarded by KK Security, not the Uganda police, opening the road for them and giving them security at the back. Or else Kaihura needs to show us the invoice that he has given to the NRM to offer them this security. Otherwise, he should give it to Matia Nsubuga, he should give it to Nandala, he should give it to Mugisha Muntu. Richard, back to the internal mechanisms of the said parties. I don't know whether the police is part of the mechanism of the NRM. And these dynamics that Charles talks about, the shrinking of the space or the widening of it, the NRM regards part of the funding, of the payment, as fundraising for the party. Tango Doi says, you're giving us 20 million, you're giving us 2 million. But when you finally roll off as the candidate of the party is going to give you money to go and work. So what is wrong with this? Or if there is anything wrong with it?
I enjoyed your show with General Segusa. Some of the issues you raised now are related. Two, Charles, Tamare Mirundi gets 1 million shillings in clothing allowance alone.
I don't know.
That's official. Yeah. So
And that can only buy a Chinese suit.
So, yeah, it can maybe buy Chinese suit or no suit at all. So they are.
But is the salary beyond 1 million?
You didn't specify salary.
I said salary.
I was listening carefully. So, the Charles, who is not unemployed, by the way, can also be nominated. He can pay the 2 million and be nominated. I was talking to one journalist today who is paying the 2 million for nomination. I think for him is 2 million is for parliament.
Yes.
Yes, 2 million. And I was telling him you can't fundraise for the 2 million. Pay the 2 million, show us evidence, then you can come and ask us for fuel. Private, as he has friends and journalists. Because I told him it's like when you are going to wed and you ask us for, like they used to do, for money for handkerchief. You see this question, let me compare it with the FDC. This democracy thing, or the UPC, whatever you want to choose. Dr. Chiza Besigye, and those ones who crafted the rules in the FDC, we are very creative. And that's what the politicians will do. They leave opening for themselves. They say you are party president twice, but you can be party presidential candidate limitlessly. Yeah, because you see, if you were to follow this the spirit of the limitation, then you should be limited as well in how many times you can aspire to be president.
Of course,
and
as
leave
a
that,
candidate of the
and
party,
leave that open
Richard,
for
as
the
a
party
candidate of the
president.
party, if you won the presidency and the presidency has a limit the other side, which is 2 presidential terms, you can't be a candidate of the party limitless.
Yeah, but you see, you are taking it outside your own organization and taking it to government. Why don't you start with your own organization? And this is politics. Yeah. Now, the Honorable Amama Mbabazi is not failing to raise 20 million. No, that is not the issue. The Honorable Amama Mbabazi is the one of those top architects of this mirage called the National Resistance Movement. And he understands how the arrangements of exclusion work. But also the Honorable Amama Mbabazi is not in this contestation to keep the NRM intact. That's not. Is this what we have created? If I cannot be head of it, then let's break it apart. And you break it apart by what Charles was saying. You know how it is, you know how it is created, you know how it functions, and therefore you know which areas to hit and create cracks. And this is what it is about. So to say that it is internal democracy, that the 20 million is it really, that's not it. It is, for me, in a lot of the constituencies, when you become NRM flag bearer, you have a huge percentage of becoming member of parliament in many of the constituencies. And so raising 2 million to do that for people who want to contest, they will do that. And you will not say that that amount will exclude. That the one who wants to be president of Uganda through the NRM will not be able to raise 10 million shillings because it's 10 million shillings for presidential flag bearer. So to start putting this, that this is a democratic issue, that no. It's not about democratization. No. And
So tell me, what are these machinations? Because of course I don't doubt that Mbabazi can raise 20 million. But he's saying, one,
actually it's 10 million.
Yes, 10 and 10, because he's asking for both. He's saying, one, are you construing this out of the regulations of the party? Is it inbuilt within the, and does it move within the spirit of the constitution and the laws that govern presidential elections? And I think he's asking a very candid question. Because if you looked at it at the level of the individual, you may miss the bigger picture. But he's saying, okay, are we following the laws of the land? Are we following the laws of the and rules and regulations of the party as well? And he's saying, I'm raising this. And all he asked Dr. Tango Odoi yesterday was, give me a copy of the regulations before I even pay the money so that I know whether I will abide or not. And Tanga says, I'll give you a copy of the regulations after you've given me the money.
So you want me to believe that for Honorable Mbabazi to get the copy of the regulations, he needs to ask Tanga?
Well, Tanga is the
Really?
custodian.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you see, you talked about that it raised media frenzy. The task that Honorable Amama has is to translate this media frenzy to the general population. That's really the task he has. And I think that is what he's attempting to do. The other thing, you see, is it's the same like Dr. Chiza Besigye going to contest. Really, after 3-4 times, is it?
3 times.
And because he puts rejoinders, I will accept in these circumstances. The circumstances have not changed.
Yeah, but Buhari won.
I don't see them changing.
Buhari
You see,
tried many times and lost.
it is-
losing, but he won.
Yes, the circumstances have not changed. Now, it's not about going to win. It's about having access. And you talked about it too, that the other General Mugisha Muntu is doing town hall.
I'll come to that. We'll
Yes,
discuss
Dr.
that.
Chiza Besigye. Yes,
Close
because
this.
you see,
Viewers will take a break. When we return from the break, we'll go also into the others. Of course, the UPC, like I said, I had a good chat with my friend Jimmy Akena, and I have told Charles that if Jimmy became a president, I can comfortably say I have a president that I will call by first name.
You won't see him.
Let
me alert you.
I'm not sure about
He
that.
will not be accessible to you.
We shared the same corridors
Just
with
prepare
Joe
to be
Kabila,
disappointed.
with Joe Kabila in the Makerere, and then we used to say Joe. But when he became president, I haven't had my opportunity. I still think that if I managed to whiz through the streets of Kinshasa, I would catch him and I would say Joe. But definitely, if Jimmy became president, I would have a president that I would call by first name. That seems to be really in the hypothetical sense. Well, it's a long shot. His brother, Bishop Engena, thinks he can run for presidency. He started warming up as well. Bishop Engena lives in Nairobi. And Bishop says, I'm thinking I may be the answer to Uganda's problems. And Bishop, I'd like you to run. I'd like you to run. He as well, I would know the president and I'd be able to pat his shoulder. The rest of the guys, this Luero revolution, I see them at a distance. Don't go away.
When you know they are so